I do my best not to get political on this platform, so I won't. Because ultimately for me, the idea in life is to find your happiness, find your joy, and live with it. Because that's what you are shooting for, and that is the goal, right? People out there living their lives to the fullest are doing just that. They are living their lives, living their truth to the fullest extent that they can. And no one really has anything to say about anyone else's happiness except the people who are living with their happiness. The point behind trans people, LGBT people living their lives and their truths to the fullest is because they themselves are trying to find their joy, their happiness in their lives. No more, no less. It hurts no one, this pursuit of happiness. And that is regardless of whether or not you are LGBT, cis, male, female, or anything in between. Heck, you can even identify as a fairy, or a walrus, an elf, an angel, a demon, and you can still find your happiness if that is what you are truly seeking in this life. So that is today's topic. We are going to be discussing happiness and the pursuit of joy. But we are going to tell it in the form of a story using my transition as an example. Because, well, why not? Hello there! Welcome back to Trans Talks from the Fringes. I am Solstice. Even though I am part of the trans community was not always there in my life. So I had to live life for the most part of my transition from the fringes. So, with all of that being said, let's just go ahead and get right on into this. If you like this video, watch it all the way through to the end. Give it a like if you like it. So let's get into this. The way back in 2011, I started my transition. I was in Eugene, Oregon at the time. I attempted to come out before, many years prior, but it didn't go half as well as one would think. One of the common phrases that most people will hear when it comes to anything other than the cookie cutter, this, that, or the other is perhaps it is just a phase. Let me tell you, it's not just a phase, at least not for everybody. And even at that, if the person is telling you how they feel and this is the direction that they want to go in their life, believe them, because they're living their life, not you. So I came out in 2011, as I said, in Eugene, Oregon. There's a little bit of a stigma when it comes to masculine figures experiencing emotions, being nurturers, and being compassionate in today's day and age. That's how I was raised. But thanks to society, thanks to our civilization, experiencing that full range of emotions didn't go over all that well. It's all too often young masculine figures or older masculine figures to have this saying, "Am I having a problem? Yes, I am. But would anyone listen if I talked about it? No." To which, humans being humans and having a full spectrum of emotional ranges, a masculine type saying that means that they are diminishing who they are, and society, culture, for doing so is promoting the diminishing of one side of the species. Because, who knows? So, when I decided that this is who I am and this is the direction I want my life to go in, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I did a buttload of research into this entire topic, just so I understood what's going on and what I should expect. Perhaps at one point I probably did a little bit more research than I wanted to or intended to, because you can dive and delve too deeply into things and it will change your entire worldview, and not always for the better. But I can say that I did my research on this entire thing. So, like most other masculine sorts out there, I too was exposed to the whole if I have a problem, keep it to myself because no one wants to hear it in the first place. Until I started going through the process of coming out, period. According to the defunct Benjamin protocol that is out there, one should develop their circle of friends first, the people who have your back and will support you and uplift you if you need it, emotionally as well as socially and psychologically if needed, but always supportive of you and your choices. The next step in this entire thing is going out there and finding a therapist. You see, what a therapist will do is they will get you used to the idea of going out there and living your truth in society day to day until you're ready to finally come out. Not just to your circle of friends, which you've already established, but to the world at large. For me, it was going out there and dressing up and going to Taco Bell with my boyfriend at the time. I was nervous as all get-go. I was nervous as hell. But he was a fluffy teddy bear and he was taller than I am, so there was the intimidation factor at play. So while I got some odd looks, no one said anything and I was all right. But that is what the therapist does. They get you used to this new reality and they talk you through it. They get you used to it until you're ready to say, I'm ready. But the therapist is absolutely necessary in another field. You see, you're going to want their approval and they're going to want to write a letter to your primary care physician saying that you are aware of what's going on here with this transition and they are okay with it. They're in a stable and sound state of mind to where they can accept hormone replacement therapy. From there, with that letter in hand, you go to your primary care physician and you talk out the finer details on a medical basis. If it is found out that you can handle HRT, then you go ahead and you start taking HRT. And voila, the transition is done, right? No, the transition is nowhere near complete. For one thing, you are breaking societal norms. You are breaking gender norms in order to live your full truth. And why this bothers some people, I have absolutely no idea. But you are doing this for you. What other people has to say on this matter shouldn't matter, should it? And yet, it does, because the people who have everything to say against this will be very vocal. They will be very bitter and very harsh about it. Which is why the therapist is so important. In my own transition, it started out relatively easy, getting over the one little question phrase that all of us are so used to hearing at the beginning of our lives. It was actually really easy to just go through. I mean, I was asked that question once, and then it's like, you know what, I will call you back in about a month, and if I'm still doing this entire thing, then perhaps it's not a phase. 1 month later, I'm still doing this entire thing. I'm still living my truth, so there we are. But my transition started out easy. The social aspect of coming out was perhaps the easiest, because I came out to people around me first, rather than talking to my parents and my biological family who were one state away first. I will say that talking to them was kind of a mixed bag on the entire issue. Without getting too much into what actually happened, needless to say, the entire family was kind of divided on the entire issue. But the way I saw it, I was doing this for me and no one else. This is my life, and this is my truth. And fighting for my truth makes me happy. Well, maybe not fighting, but living my truth, keeping myself on target, making sure that I am as happy as I can be is the goal here. So, with a therapist and a doctor all helping me out and uplifting me in this department, I got my pills for the first time. Now, granted, it sounds a little bad. I will grant you that. I need pills. But with these pills in hand, I took them literally one day after they were prescribed because I wanted to start it at the beginning of the next day. I made sure to wake up early, a couple hours before I went to work, and then I took the pills. The way that the doctors described it to me, the way the pharmacist described it to me, I took it that way. Overcome with joy, overcome with intense feelings, upon taking those pills for the very first time, I broke down on that couch that I was sitting on and I cried my eyes out. I grew up with the saying, if you have a problem, keep it to yourself because no one's going to listen to you in the first place. I grew up as that masculine sort where it was expected to only have 1 to 2 emotions in that full spectrum that is available to me: anger, frustration, and rage. Upon taking these pills, I broke down and I cried because in my mind, in a little bit of time, I would finally be able to experience the full range of emotions and I would not be chastised for it. Now, according to the information that I had read, that I was researching at the time, it gave me a timetable on what I should expect when it comes to being on HRT, including feminization of the skin, the hair, the facial features, the bust line, the butt line, and the hips. So, knowing what I was in for, knowing what to expect, I knew that I was going to have to be patient here. I knew that the first thing that was going to change, thanks to these pills, was psychology, was the range of emotions. It was very common for me to get irrationally emotional from time to time because I couldn't contain what I was feeling, leading to the idea that women experience emotions 10 times more than men. Having been on the hormones, I will both confirm and deny all that. Yes, women do tend to feel emotions 10 times stronger, but perhaps if masculine types were allowed to actually feel their emotions from time to time, this issue wouldn't be an issue. But I was experiencing these emotions, and boy howdy, they were frackin' strong. So I was very, very prone to bouts of breaking down and crying because I could not actually handle the emotions that were going on, and I didn't have the vocabulary to vocalize it in the first place. This is a range that I was not taught. As for everything else, the skin would slightly lighten, the hair follicles will become a little bit more fine. Breast growth begins pretty much 2 to 3 months after you start the process and lasts for about 3 years. Maybe 1, depending on genetics, but that's the point. It relies on genetics. So when I first came out, I figured that there were 2 types of girls out there in the world. One was your everyday gal on the streets, just out there living their life and being happy while they're being quiet, just walking down the street. The other one is a party girl, going out there and living life large. Dancing, having fun, having all the things that they could ever want. But I decided to be just an average gal that you see down the road. My happiness does not have to be advertised for everyone to see. And because of the fact that I wanted to be just an average gal that you saw on the street, I was happy. I was happy in my mind, I was happy in my very small circle of friends, and everything was perfect. I loved life. I still do. Yeah, there's the haters out there, the people who think everything negative about me. But then again, you also have to realize that these people who think everything negative about a person like me has a very, very narrow mindset on the entire world. Very narrow horizon. Tunnel vision comes to mind. So here I am, it's about 11 years after the fact that I came out as trans, as a woman, and I'm still living life to my satisfaction. I'm still working on my happiness. That is a lifelong journey. There was a point in time when I did question the entirety of my life and my choices. There was a point in time where I did decide to detransition, but that only lasted for about 4 months before I figured I was an idiot and decided to start everything all over again. I will say that was a fun period in my life. But here's the thing about living life. I live by a couple of mottos. One, go big or go home. I figured that with this entire transition, I may as well go full on with it. Go big or go home. Because if I do not live my happiness, no one else is going to. So that is mine to do. So, go big or go home. Go at it balls deep. But you know what? Go at it boobs deep. Yeah, that sounds better. My time in transition has been certainly filled with ups and downs, but it's always maintained this basic truth. I am a woman. Even though I was born in the wrong body, this is who I am. And because of this nice little truth, I am absolutely ecstatic and elated. This is my joy. There are other aspects that also make me happy, like doing wire wrapping, like making music from time to time, like drawing. But really, what it all comes down to is I am a family person. I am a homebody. And taking care of people, taking care of my family in all of their variations, my extended family and my biological family, brings me the utmost joy. And my life feels very fulfilled because of this. But that's just it. This is my happiness. This is where my happiness started, and this is where my happiness has led. Other people have their own sense of happiness and what makes them happy in their lives. I have no stake in what makes other people happy. If it makes them happy, good. Shoot for that happiness. Go for it. Go at it. Go big or go home. Go balls deep. Go boobs deep. Whatever makes you happy, shoot for it. Shooting for your happiness literally hurts no one else. And as I said in the beginning of this episode, I don't like to get political here at all, period. But we happen to live in a day and age where people are getting upset and angry over pretty much everything under the sun. There are differences in people. Nobody is a cookie cutter. There are different ideologies out there. Oh my goodness, people are getting upset over that because somehow they're entitled enough to believe that their right is the right way, the only way. There are people that don't look like them. Oh my goodness, there is a variation of the species. But even cats and dogs have different coloration to their fur. People are getting upset over the fact that there are things other than being straight in this world. As I said in a previous video, I think, even cats, dogs, dolphins, and other animals on the planet will act along these same lines until procreation is an issue, in which case, yeah. But that is specifically for the benefit of making babies, not anything else. And then there's the type of people who get angry over the fact that there are people who are just simply not happy with human form as it is now. Need I remind you that there is an entire transhuman movement out there, building robots, building artificial limbs, artificial organs out there. Hell, me wearing glasses is a little bit of a cyborg type thing. Human 2.0 if you get right down to it, because my quality of life has been improved via technology, regardless of whether or not it's technology like glasses, like machines, or technology as in medicine. I don't understand why people are so upset, why people are getting so angry in today's day and age. I mean, granted, I can understand that there is money to be made or to be had in starting drama where there really is none. In which case, that is what we're experiencing right here, right now in today's politics. Wouldn't you agree? A bunch of special snowflakes getting offended and upset over literal nothing. To you, I say, I apologize. To you, I say, I am sorry. You are my kin, and I love you. But that does not mean that I have to like you, too. You go over there, you be yourself, over there, behind a tree. Like, 30,000 miles away from me, please. I'm over here living my life and my happiness in the way that I am, and it's hurting literally no one. Anyone who shoots for their happiness, unless you're a serial killer, hurts no one if they're shooting for their happiness. And that's okay. Shooting for your happiness means that you are going to be living a far more peaceful way of life rather than going out there and objecting everything else. Live for happiness. We only have one life, so let's live it to our fullest. Checking the mouse. Yeah, here in the point behind being, and I do my best not to get political on this platform because there's too much toxicity and diversiveness. Yeah. You see, god damn it, guys.